The chamber was tense. Cameras clicked, eyes narrowed, and the nation watched with bated breath as firebrand Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took the floor. Her words rang out with fury, slicing through the air like sharpened steel. "You've done enough damage today," she snapped, pointing at Senator Ted Cruz. "Sit down, boy." Gasps rippled across the room. The insult echoed through Capitol Hill like a thunderclap, bold, raw, and unexpected. Reporters scribbled furiously. Twitter exploded in real time, and the words trended globally within minutes. On one side, people cheered the fiery rebuke. On the other, many were stunned by the suddenness, even from someone known for passion. But no, when absolutely no one was prepared for what happened next. Ted Cruz, who had moments earlier been challenging a spending provision related to education reform, didn't flinch. He didn't glare. He didn't fire back with one of his trademark barbs. Instead, he stood silent for a beat. Then, slowly, he stepped forward to the podium. His voice, when it came, was softer than expected. "Congresswoman," he began, "I could return your insult with another. I could raise my voice. I could call you names too, but I won't, not today." The room froze. "I grew up the son of a Cuban immigrant," he continued, eyes locking with hers. "I was taught to fight not with fists, but with dignity. My father fled oppression. He came here for freedom, for opportunity, for the kind of debate we're having right now. He believed that the way you speak to someone reveals more about you than it does about them. So I will not sit down like a boy. I will stand here as a man, not to challenge you but to invite you to speak with me, not at me." The silence was deafening. Even the ever-buzzing phones seemed to pause. "I understand your anger," he said. "You care, I care too. That's why we're here. But if we let our passion poison our words, we forget what we were elected to represent the people. All of them, even the ones who didn't vote for us." He paused, and then said something no one could have expected. "Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, I'd like to meet you off camera off Twitter, just as two people who love their country. Let's break bread. Let's argue, let's yell, but let's walk out of that room with one idea we can agree on, together." It was an olive branch, not rehearsed, not PR polished, just raw, human. Reporters didn't know what to do with it. Neither did America. The footage went viral. Not because of drama, but because of something rarer, grace. Overnight, #SitDownBoy was overshadowed by #StandUpTogether. Some accused Cruz of playing politics. Others saw sincerity. AOC hadn't responded right away, but when she did, the country watched with equal intensity. Her response came on a quiet Thursday, not from a press conference, but through a video she posted from her phone. She was sitting on a bench outside her Bronx district office, hair pulled back. No makeup, no notes. "I've always been passionate," she said. "Sometimes too passionate. What I said to Senator Cruz wasn't okay. Not because he's a man, but because no one deserves to be talked to like that. We can debate fiercely, but we cannot dehumanize." She took a breath, visibly emotional. I watched his response, and I was surprised. I expected sarcasm, maybe a jab. Instead, I got an invitation, so I'm taking it. "Ted, I'll see you Tuesday." They met the next week, behind closed doors, with no press. For 2 hours, they spoke not as enemies, but as colleagues. They disagreed on almost everything, but, by the end, they found common ground on expanding career training programs for underserved youth. It wasn't a huge bill. It wasn't flashy, but it passed. And for a brief moment, Americans looked at their leaders and saw something different. Not perfection, but possibility. In the weeks that followed, both politicians continued to debate ferociously. They still clashed on most issues. But there was a shift. Respect had edged its way in, slow and fragile. Where before there had been only insults, now there was room for dialogue. It wasn't a Hollywood ending. It didn't fix Congress. But something changed, if only a little. Voters across the political spectrum began writing in, not about policies, but about hope. A young teacher in Iowa said she played the clip for her students to teach them conflict resolution. A retired vet in Texas said he felt like someone finally stood for honor, not just headlines. In an age of outrage, when anger gets the clicks and drama drives the news cycle, one unexpected exchange reminded America that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it speaks quietly, and sometimes it simply says, "Let's talk." Because maybe, just maybe, the real power in politics isn't in who shouts the loudest, it's in who listens.